So I got these old parents who had, both of them had 8th grade educations, both of them chewed tobacco. They were farmers, pure and simple. That's what they knew. But Mama, clearly, I didn't even have to ask. You could just look at her. And she was not going to tolerate any drama that related to sex. My mama did not talk about sex. You would never hear her talk about the word, never say anything. All the girls at recess were talking about breasts. We were all getting our little breast buds. That was happening for me too. And we would talk about it. And I really didn't know what size mine were. The only thing I knew was cooking language. Mama was teaching me to cook. So the best I figured, my breasts were about the size of 2 tablespoons full. Well, all the girls were getting training bras. And we would talk about that at recess. You know, so-and-so would get a training bra. And I marched myself into my mama and I said, I want a training bra. She said, you don't need one of them things. They'll choke you. I said, Mama, how can they choke me? She said, well, I don't really know, but I wore one of them things once and it cut my breath off just right up here. So I decided with what little money I had, I would take that and I would buy me a training bra from Sears and Roebuck catalog. I got that catalog out, found the one I wanted, and then I got the order form out. And on that order form, it said, what size? 38, 36, 34, 32, 42. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't have a clue. And then it said, what cup size? I didn't know what cup size meant either. That said A, B, C, D, E. So I just guessed. And on that form, I ordered me a 38C for a girl that I now know wore a size 32 AAA. That thing came and I looked at it and you know it wrapped around me 3 times. It wrapped around me 3 times. But I was an optimist and I figured that surely someday I would grow into it. Do you know I never have? I have not done that exactly yet. Well, I had no sooner gotten through this crisis than I got faced with another crisis. And you can guess what that one was. Menstruation. The girls and all us girls were talking about that. And some of the girls had started their periods and it was going quite well. We were trying to learn from each other. And I knew already from the bra episode that I wasn't going to get no information from Mama. This was not going to happen. And I saw this ad that said, what every girl should know about becoming a woman. Oh, that was just wonderful. And it said, send your dime to this address and we will send you this booklet free in a plain brown wrapper. And that was just what I knew that somewhere there was something in there that I needed to know. So I couldn't get my dime fast enough, sent that thing off, and I waited. Yeah, I must have waited 3 months for that thing. And it came, I grabbed it, I ran into my room and I sat down and I read and I read and I read until I understood every bit of it. Took several readings. Anyway, well, about a year passed. And one morning I woke up and it was there. It was there when I woke up. And now I had a new crisis entirely. It had never occurred to me that I would have to figure out how to tell Mama. I had just not realized that was a problem for me. And all of a sudden, that morning, I had to tell Mom. What was I going to say? I knew she'd be silent whatever I said. So I marched myself into the kitchen, and Mama's standing at the stove. She's scrambling eggs. And I stood there for a few minutes, and then I just stood there real straight and said, Mama, I started my period. And she got this kind of wild look on her face. And she looked at me and she said, I'll take care of it, and walked into her bedroom. And she came back, and she had a pair of my white panties in her hand. And in the crotch of those panties were pinned a thick layer of clean white rags. Now you know where on the rag comes from. There was a layer of about that much of clean white cloths. They were pinned underneath with safety pins. She handed them to me and said, here, put these on. And by the way, you'll need to change the rags every day. That was it. That was it. From that day forward, my mama and I never had another conversation about this topic. I took care of it. About 10 years after that happened, I finally realized that Mama had given me the answer that she had been given when she had her own periods. That was how she managed it, but it took me a long time to put that together. I have my first child, and I dread telling her that I'm pregnant, because finally she will know I did something. There would be no doubting it whatsoever. About 2 years before Mama died, I finally got courage enough. She was 83 at the time. I finally got enough courage to say, Mama, why were you so unwilling to talk to me about sex? And she simply said, well, I knew you'd figure it out anyway, and you did. And that was the end of that. So, this is the story about No Questions Many. Thank you very much.